What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Taste Tuesday on Taste Loot Game, the show where we talk about the very little bit of news that's out after E3. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
And quick reminder to play Grim Dawn, which is our game of the month, and Life is Strange and Killing Floor 2. Both are for free on PlayStation Plus right now. You can download them. You can play them. You should do both. Come back at the end of the month. We'll be talking about our experience with all three of those games, and you should do the same. With that, like I said before, not a whole lot of news out since E3, but we found a little bit. There's a little bit we had to dig through the dumpster to find, but we did. So right out behind E3, there's some fucking.
What do we got here?
Chuck some shit. We found it. But with that, let's jump into it. So we got 3 bits of news. First one is Square Enix has completed the sale of Hitman to IO Interactive, the people they were selling off, essentially. IO Interactive has bought themselves and retained the rights to Hitman. So, that's pretty much it. They had negotiations, it worked out, and now IO Interactive is an independent company. What do we think about how this was handled, about IO and how they took their own future in their own hands and retaining Hitman?
I'm actually super surprised by this.
Yeah, me too.
I was expecting them to be bought out by someone, and if they were lucky, get to keep Hitman. And I mean, this is just the best case scenario for them. So hopefully, as an independent company now, with the rights to Hitman, they can continue to make that game and make enough money to keep afloat at this point. So, that's pretty much what I got on it.
No, this is awesome because this whole situation we've been talking about for a while now, a couple weeks, and we've been talking about how it's been impressive the way it's been handled. It's been done really classy. No one's fucking anyone over, and yeah, I was in the same boat. I assumed somebody's going to buy them out, but it's really cool to see that they were able to do that for themselves, so that nothing really changes for them outside of Square isn't over
their
them
games anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, their future is in their hands now, which is awesome. I think it should have been that way in the first place. Now they're they were kind of forced out of the nest to do that on their own now. Square's you gotta go, and they're like, I'm fucking do this on my own then. I don't need no fucking parent. So good for them.
You're not my real dad.
You never were my dad, Square. We know. That's why we're getting rid of you. Have a good life. No hard feelings. No, it's awesome. And like I said, they're keeping Hitman, which is really important. I think that was probably the most important thing of them doing this for themselves, is to make sure something they've been working on for 19 years. Well, they have a 19-year history, but something they've been working on for so long doesn't just get lost in the ether due to, financial bullshit. So this is awesome. I think this is literally the best way this could have panned out, aside from a big company buying them, giving them freedom, and retaining all those properties they own. So it's awesome. I think it's really cool.
I'm actually really surprised by this, that they had enough money to buy themselves out from underneath Square. And I think it is really great because then they can continue to make the games as they see fit and not have, someone loitering over them okay, well, this is how you did it before, but this is how we want it now. Mm-hmm. You need to change all these mechanics. I'm interested to see what they will do otherwise, though, since they have their own company now. Usually companies don't have one game that they focus entirely on. Usually have a couple of side projects here or there. I'm not sure how big their company is, so it might be smaller to begin with, so they might just focus on Hitman until they get more revenue in. But it'd be interesting to see what they do with this freedom now that they've found themselves in.
Well, they also retained the rights to Kane and Lynch, which has been theirs. I like Kane and Lynch. I'm the one person on the planet that enjoyed that game, and both of them. So they do have other properties, and they could bring Kane and Lynch back, make a third one. Now more than ever, they need to be thinking about other brands because they can't stay afloat with one franchise. But yeah, I mean, I would like them to work on other things. Like I said, I like Kane and Lynch, so if they brought that back, with newer ideas, stuff like that, maybe make it in a way that people who are the naysayers might like it, even though you shoot shit, so you probably wouldn't be too into it. Maybe they'll add RPG elements.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they came out with some indie-style games at this point now, since they have that freedom, and they might have people in their team that have these ideas, and obviously under a big umbrella. It's really hard to get those ideas greenlit, and at this point, since we've said a couple times now that they can make their own decisions, they'd be able to do those small projects and take those gambles, which, in this industry, you kind of have to. So,
Yeah. Any last words on it?
It's awesome. I hope you guys continue to make Hitman and keep evolving it into a good series. But I would love to see what the future holds, especially in like new IPs and stuff for you. So
I just hope they can. I mean, obviously they're gonna be able to do it, but I hope they're gonna be able to finish the 3 seasons of content they promised for Hitman. And yeah, after that, hopefully they do whatever the fuck they got to keep it going.
I look forward to seeing what other kind of games you make based on the Hitman style, where it's open world and various ways to complete the objectives.
All right, segment news.
So, I mean, as we've known, has been coming out for a while, and we got to actually see a little bit more at E3. Super Mario Odyssey has local co-op confirmed. The second player will actually control the cap named Cappy. You will take both Joy-Cons, and the controls are actually simplified for Cappy, and the reason for this is they wanted it to be an introductory, or I can't say
Introductory.
it, to not just Mario, but games in general, for people who may not play games. What do you guys think about this?
First thing I thought of as soon as you said that end part is that they're making this accessible for anyone to be able to play it. So if you have like kids or something like that, it's something they can pick up and kind of get and understand. And you know, that simplistic control scheme, maybe they can become gamers, or for Nintendo, potential consumers in the future. Just like the cigarette companies. But
That's an interesting comparison.
but it's all addiction. Yeah, it's cool. When they originally said there's going to be co-op in this game, I knew it wasn't going to be like full-fledged co-op. I've been saying that since I heard it. They were kind of vague about their wording on it. But this is also more than I thought, because I thought it was going to be like some weird like mini game, like fucking tug of war, some stupid shit with things. But yeah, it's cool. I think it'll be fun to mess around with that. I don't know how much I would actually play that with somebody, but
Yeah, as far as I know, the cap can essentially like defend Mario and help solve puzzles and stuff like that. So
kind of reminds me of like Banjo-Kazooie or something like that. Someone controlling the secondary. Yeah,
I was actually gonna say Tails.
Yeah,
Sonic and Tails.
that too for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely an upgrade from their last version of co-op, is Super Mario Galaxies, where you just had like a little cursor you could fling around the screen to like hold enemies in place or make platforms appear, collect little bits here and there. I'd be interested to see how far they go with like the co-op mechanics, because one of the mechanics we know of the game is that the hat possesses people, or allows Mario to possess people.
Like the devil.
Yes, like the devil.
Like cigarettes. I'm in a dark place today.
But it'd be interesting to see if you could like have Mario run around and just be regular Mario, where the other player can control various like enemies to help fight the scenario. Mario, like I know there's a T-Rex in the preview. Maybe you could have one person control the T-Rex, and Mario could ride the T-Rex through things.
Yeah, maybe.
That guy looks like a fucking dork. Yeah, no, and when you mentioned the prior co-op that they had in games, that's pretty much what I was thinking of. Because I remember in one of those games, somebody's just like collecting coins for somebody else.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is fucking barely
Little
co-op,
star
man.
bits.
This is like, oh, you're gonna watch me play. I guess you can fucking collect the coins for me.
Here, have this.
Yeah, fuck, this will keep you busy while I enjoy myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be interested to see how it plays though. Regardless, I'm picking this game up. If someone wants to play as the hat, they can.
Maybe it'll be fun.
Hopefully. Any last thoughts on that?
I'm just glad to see Nintendo making like a full-fledged, like really good-looking Mario game. So.
No, I'm legit fucking excited for this game. It's been too long. Third bit of news. After 20 years, Atari is rejoining the console race. Apparently. There's not a whole lot of news on it. There is a little video. But they essentially said that they're in the hardware business again. They're under new leadership. And they said that this is going to have PC specs in it. So, yeah, take that as whatever you want. What do you guys think about the potential of Atari or anybody joining this this console war has been locked in with 3 companies for so long, and it being Atari? And do you think that it's going to be like a modern console or something else?
Well, if it says PC specs, I'm going to assume it's a modern console. Obviously, until they give us more information, that's all I can do. As far as like
Oh, it's also called the Atari box. I missed that part.
Oh, okay. But as far as them like making a console, or even just anyone making another console right now, I always find that exciting. I remember when the Ouya was coming out, I bought one because I wanted to see what it was about. And obviously, the future for that didn't pan out, but it was still neat to see someone else like try to jump in that game. And you never know. Like, Microsoft took that gamble with the original Xbox, and look where they're at now. So there's always a place for it.
If you have the money, though, because
Yeah.
Microsoft had to lose a shitload of money to get in that.
Sure.
I mean, like, and if anybody's got the money to lose, it's Microsoft. They're proving that right now with the Xbox One.
I mean, the only thing I'd be concerned about with the Atari is the thing that makes people buy Xboxes and PlayStations and Nintendos is that you need exclusives. Because otherwise you're just bringing out a piece of hardware, unless the price is just amazing. People are going to pass on it. So
It's supposed to have the same wood finish as the original Atari, so it's really to have that nostalgia if you ever owned an Atari. But I can't imagine how well they're really gonna do in this market right now.
Yeah.
It is just such a solid console market, even with the consoles talking about now ending that whole cycle of consoles altogether. The only thing I could think of that would keep them on top of the market, like that would peak them to the top and probably break a few laws, would be if that their console could play both Xbox and PlayStation 4 games.
that would never happen.
Yeah, it can't happen. That's where I'm at too. Is like how I don't even know how the fuck they can even do this. I mean, the first thing I thought of, and I still am thinking this is the thing. I think that they're going to be making something kind of like the NES Classic, and I feel like we got misinformation. I keep reading that they're saying it's a full-fledged console that they're working on, and they're still looking into it. But yeah, I can't imagine them doing that because first off, you have to have exclusive. So, and it's Atari, so they've been in the industry for a long time, so they might still have connections with people, and that'd be amazing. Best case scenario, this is a real console that can compete, and they do have exclusives. I would love to fucking see a new person step into the fucking ring.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I'm thinking about how hard that's going to be and how insane that process would have to be to get that done. But yeah, if they were just making like, oh, play all the old Atari games you loved or whatever on this old wood finish console, that would make way more sense to me, just because they probably looked at Nintendo's classic consoles and went, that's a good idea. Because Atari has been out of the game. They make mobile games. That's where they make their money right
Well, the only thing that's confusing about that is because they keep saying that it's incorporating PC technology into it. So it just being an old Atari box, I mean, that's some really weird advertising for that.
Unless they're just trying to get you stoked with that vague wording by PC technology. It could be like a Raspberry Pi or something.
Yeah,
But
I mean, technically.
I'm just saying, like, I want to believe that.
Sure.
I just don't know if I do. Because there hasn't been anybody jumping into the console race since Xbox. Like, nobody. So,
Well,
like,
I mean, technically Ouya, and they did have an exclusive. It just became unexclusive when Ouya
Yeah,
failed.
but that barely counts. That was an indie thing. They were more so competing with fucking phones at that point. But plus that thing was, I don't know. That thing never had a chance. But this, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's really weird, crazy news. I hope it's 100% exactly what they're implying. The wood finish, though, first off, let's say they are going to do this. Who wants wood finish console in their front room?
It's very retro.
It's too retro. I don't want that. I want them to make a fucking.
I mean, people who live in this area might like it, but the main demographic.
Thought crossed my mind is that the way they could really like corner their market on this console system thing is if they made it a VR console. That would be the one way I could think that they could really.
The price would be steep,
cut the
though,
market. Yeah.
and then they're not going to sell it because they can't go off their name.
You could also make it a Steam box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then that would explain the PC technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you have a huge library right off the bat.
Yeah. No, that could be it. I'm just trying to think of, because like I said, Atari's not. Everybody knows Atari. but nobody's like clamoring like, oh man, Atari's involved with this. Like fucking, that's not a name that really brings anything anymore.
Right.
So I mean, they really got to have something that's gonna fucking make you want this.
They re-released E.T. remastered.
I mean, I give them complete,
buy those just to burn them, get rid of all the consoles.
I give them complete props for even like thinking about doing it though, because that's like we've said, that's a tough market to break into, and it does take a significant amount of investment and resources. So, I mean, we'll see. I like you said, best case scenario, they become a true contender, and that would be really cool. And if not, it's just the Ouya all over again. So,
yeah, if it comes out and it's like something lesser than a competitive console, I'll be like, cool, for anybody who wants that, look past it. If it's a legit console, though, this is huge news, like really big, and it's super exciting for me. Atari's been out of the game for so long that I don't have an opinion on them anymore, negative or positive. So if they just showed up and had some dope-ass console, I'd be like, fucking, Atari's a different company now than it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's been like 6 different companies. So under the new leadership, these guys are like, we're going to make a fun console. We have this legacy. Let's do it. Fucking A, do it. You just need those exclusives. You can get Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, all that shit on there all you want. You gotta have something on there that's gonna, make me want to buy the thing and deviate me from my PS4. Any last words? Good luck. Godspeed.
My pocketbook's kind of scared.
I was gonna say fucking buy a pocket pussy. I was like, what?
What?
I thought that's
man,
what I thought you were saying.
Your head is in a fucking place.
It's all
today.
over the place, man. On that, I think we're gonna end this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Gaming. I'm the wrong person, right? As always, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, Tasty Gaming. Check out the streams on the channel. If you missed them, they're uploaded. Check them out on Twitch, Tasty_Fruit. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
Until the next episode, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.
Buy that pocket pussy.
Better go buy. I thought you were saying like in a replacement of that Atari. Might as well just do that instead. Like that's it's like a Josh type thing to say.